first heard that Arnis is going to be our lesson for the second semester in physical education, I got excited because I will be able to learn the different skills in Arnis or the different skills that is being used in Arnis. Also, I was kind of nervous because I don't have that much knowledge when it comes to Arnis. I only have the basic knowledge, and I was nervous because I am afraid of sticks or getting hurt because I tried Arnis before.
At first, I was very disappointed because I'd rather play sports than learn Arnis. But as time passes and by every meeting, I started to enjoy it, and I learned the benefits of learning Arnis, like self-defense. Yes, but I'd say I'd still rather play sports like badminton than learn Arnis.
When I first found out that we're gonna be using Arnis for the whole school year, I was a bit excited because Arnis is something that I'm curious to try and eager to learn ever since. And also, I love Danaya from Encantadia. She also uses Arnis to fight off the enemies. And it was also nice to learn one of the Filipino martial arts.
The first initial thought that came into my mind was the lessons that have been taught during our junior high school years, specifically back in 7th grade. I really thought that we would only be going back and doing all of the things that have been taught back then, this semester, but we were able to explore and expand our knowledge about Arnis and its history and culture.
When I first heard that we will be doing Arnis this semester, it was quite unexpected. But martial arts is the first thing that comes into my mind. It's been meeting of different exercises and activities that requires the usage of stick, or also called Arnis.
I was actually very excited because we would be learning a martial art, and I thought it was very fun in comparison to what we learned in the previous semester.
I was delighted when I discovered that our PE class will be all about Arnis. It appears to be an amazing physical exercise since, as far as I am aware, one of the advantages is that you may train to protect yourself. It's more about practicing ideas and procedures that will assist me in the learning how to defend myself, especially nowadays.
For the first question it's an excellent form of exercise. You will be engaged and aware as a result. One of the most well-known martial arts in the Philippines, the sports involve use of stick and homemade weapons.
When I found out that the whole semester we were going to do is all about Arnis, the first thing that came into my mind is enjoyable. Because since I was a kid, I like martial arts, but I didn't pursue it. And for me, that time I feel an excitement because since I was in junior high school, I didn't have experience.
First that comes to my mind is self-defense. Arnis is renowned for its practicality and effectiveness as a self-defense system. Practitioners learn techniques to defend themselves against armed and unarmed attackers, enhancing their coordination, reflexes, and situational awareness.
At first, the subject was very foreign to me, but once it was introduced just by the appearance of it, looks interesting, and that's how I learned the basics of Arnis. I grew to appreciate our heroes back in the Spaniard era.
It's a top-notch exercising technique. As a result, you'll be more attentive and involved. This sport, sometimes known as Kali or Eskrima, is one of the most popular martial arts in the Philippines. It incorporates the use of knives, bladed weapons, sticks, and various handmade weapons. Hand-to-hand combat, grappling, and arm-to-arm techniques are all addressed.
What comes to your mind when you found out that your PE subject this semester is all about Arnis? I was excited because Arnis is my favorite topic in PE.
The things that comes from my mind when I found out about it was we're gonna learn stances and strike moves.
When I was doing the activities that are related to our niece, my biggest problem that I face is that the stick. It is because I have small hands and the stick is too big for my hands, and sometimes it just fell out of my hand, and sometimes I am not able to control it or to control the moves of my stick.
I don't usually have problems with my submissions and activities, except for the prelims because I was a dancer at the university week, and after the event I needed to rush my activities, so that's the only problem I had.
For me, the only struggle I encounter in PE is not about the activities itself, but more about being able to be in time for the subject, because it was really a struggle for me to wake up super early because I'm a night owl, and also the fact that I live in Pateros and it's not that close to JRU.
There were times that I would be struggling to keep up with all of the steps, names, and forms when it is first taught, but after multiple attempts and with the help of all of my classmates, I always learn and overcome my struggles when it comes to learning the new lessons.
There are a lot of various problems and issues that I encountered around when doing our activities in PE, especially when it comes to the harness execution and forms. It's not very easy. Most of them are very fast-paced, and it's not a thing where you can just see it for the first time and automatically learn how to do it. I mean, some can do it, but for me, that's one of my problems. I'm not an easy learner. You have to teach me again and again. So yeah, that's one of the issues that I encountered around our activities.
I'm not a very physical person, I will admit that, so getting used to moving around a lot was a challenge, but I found it to be very enjoyable in the long run.
Most common issue I have is time management. As a student worker, I am limited in my time. I forgot there was deadline for my activities today, which is why I was constantly late.
Answer for the second question is I don't encounter any problem because we refer these challenges as obstacles since they are standing in the way of our objectives.
For me personally, I didn't encounter any challenging or difficulties about this subject because as I mentioned that since I was a kid, I like martial arts and I like what I'm doing in this subject, and our PE teacher is having a good chemistry with our section.
The problem that I encountered is lack of standard techniques because our niece has a rich history and diverse range of techniques. There's no standardization across different schools or systems. This can lead to confusion and difficulty in communication between practitioners from different backgrounds.
I have a problem with schedules and cooperation, especially most of our output should be performed by groups. There were instances where we had to wait for 3 hours just to wait for other members to arrive for our activity.
Since they prevent us from achieving our goals, we call these difficulties barriers or hurdles.
I don't encounter any problem because I'm always attending PE and I've always participated in any activities on this subject.
Most of the time is punctuality of my submissions.
As a student or as a student who learns our NIS or who learned our NIS, my biggest strategy or my number one strategy is I practice the different skills repeatedly before performing it or before taking a video or taking a pictures before passing it. It is because I want to memorize the steps or the routine before passing it or before performing it, and I actually don't want to make any single mistake. That's why.
For me, I think it's my time management skills, and of course my critical thinking is what needed the most if ever I needed activities.
And the strategies I did to execute the skills needed in every activity is just be attentive and listen to our instructor so I could do the task properly and effectively.
Repeating the steps and forms repeatedly is definitely one of the things that we do as students and learners of Arnis forms and steps in order to perform the forms properly. Once we've settled with the right flow and we are all satisfied with our work or with the results, we would start teaching and record our work together as a group, as a whole.
As a student, I ask my classmates for them to help me. I always ask them to perform it again or execute them so that I can use them as my guide. And not only that, but my teacher also gave us videos in our group chats for us to follow the proper executions. So I always make sure to watch it or even memorize it so that I can improve my memory and perform better on how to do it.
I think patience and time management is very important because you need patience to be able to execute a task that you find to be a bit taxing on you physically, and time management because PE on its own has a lot, requires a lot, which is like an exam, learning activities, projects. You need to learn to be able to juggle that with the requirements of other subjects. So definitely knowing how to manage your time is important because it makes sure that you actually have the opportunity to do what you need.
As a student, the tactics I use to execute skills in everyday tasks include being attentive and constantly listening to the instructor, which is also useful for me since I will finish my assignment quickly.
My answer for the third question is split learning into smaller steps, monitor the progress.
Good question. As a student learner of this Arnis, the first thing that we need to do is having a focus. Focus on the PE instructor when he executes to us. For us to have a clear vision on how properly execute the movements and blockings of this Arnis. And for me is memorizing the steps or movements that he will do or he will show to us.
First is footwork. Developing good footwork is crucial in Arnis. Footwork allows you to control distance, evade attacks, and set up your own strikes. Focus on maintaining a balanced stance, moving efficiently, and being light on your feet. Second is discipline. Arnis requires discipline and commitment to consistently train and improve. Practitioners learn the importance of regular practice and the patience required to master complex techniques.
I rely on either shouting the numbers and memorization of the swift movements for the activity.
Break learning down into manageable pieces to track development.
I'm already practiced when the activity was given, like practicing steps in Arnis and learning it in my own. As a student, I'm always proactive and ready to any skills activity.
I attended class and learned a bit from the video that teacher gave us beforehand.
What I learned in this second semester that I would probably use in the future is that I learned Arnis, and we all know that Arnis is something that we can use to defend ourselves. And in the future, we don't know if we would be in danger or not. And if we are, we can use what we learned or what I learned during the second semester to defend myself, to make myself stay away from danger. And yes, I also learned the different skills, basic skills that we can execute when we are doing Arnis. And I would probably love to learn more about Arnis or to take a lesson that is just all about Arnis.
like I said in the first question, Arnis is very beneficial for me and also my classmate, and also to those who is learning Arnis during this semester, because it's a form of self-defense for me and everyone, because we don't know, there might be danger everywhere.
And I think lastly, I think all of the lessons in this subject can be useful in the future, especially for self-defense purposes, and also if you want to venture into the world of martial arts in the near future. That's it. Thank you.
Dedication and loving one's culture is something that I've learned in this subject, most especially this school year. Grade 12 has given me such challenging works and activities that I never imagined that I'll do. Wearing heels while ballroom dancing has given me so much dedication to perfect the steps and has given me the drive to do well for my grades. Arnis has given me a new light into loving one of ours and has given me the drive to possibly learn the art itself.
I learned a lot in my physical education subject. It might be a very basic subject, but it can actually teach you a lot. Most of our performance and activities this term are all group-based, so you really need to learn how to cooperate and connect with your members. You need to have that good relationship with them in order to create a good work or a better performance. Since that's how our grading system works, it is a group-based activity, so you really need to learn how to cooperate. And not only that, but it also taught me the value and essence of teamwork and good leadership.
I find that Arnis is actually the most practical out of all of them, and I feel like I might find it useful. Hopefully I will never have to use it, but I feel like in a situation where if someone intends to harm me, I will have an idea on how to keep myself safe and how to defend myself. So hopefully that I never have to use it, but if I do, at least I have an idea. And that is all. Thank you.
In the topic, I learned a lot. In fact, practically everything taught can be applied in the future, especially in this semester because it's all about Arnis. You can protect yourself against those who have negative intentions for you, and also I learned to protect and control myself, which is quite essential.
The last question, and my answer to it is, I will apply this in everyday life, and I can teach this to my family and friends. That's all.
Fourth question. Apart from the self-defense that we've learned about this subject, I think the lesson that I can carry in the future is discipline and love what you are doing. And above all, the one thing that I will surely carry in the future is the camaraderie.
For me, number one is focus and concentration. Because Arnis emphasized the development of mental focus and concentration. Practitioners learn to remain present in the moment, sharpen their reflexes, and react quickly to changing situations.
A bit of self-defense if ever needed, and the importance of preserving one's history. It's important to know where we came from and not take it for granted, but instead be proud to be Filipino because that's what they fought for. Our freedom and love for our nation's country, because the Spaniard has deprived us from loving ourselves, but now we are free to do so. So thank you, heroes.
I'll put into practice every day, and I can also pass this along to my loved ones and friends.
I've learned the basic strikes, and it helps me to protect myself and to defend it. That's why it is useful for me and for my future.
I can use the RD strike methods as a way to defend myself.